Hello and welcome. I'm Patrick Curtis, Chief Monkey of Wall Street Oasis, and this is Monkey to Millions, a show where you get a front row seat as I mentor young students and professionals to try and help them break into their dream jobs. In the first cohort, you'll meet 4 students, all preparing for intense job interviews while trying to also balance a personal life and schoolwork. The goal of this show is to shine a light on the struggles of trying to break into competitive positions with a non-traditional background and to give you a roadmap for your own success. My hope is that as you get to know these 4 impressive students, you are inspired to dream big. Remember, these are real people and this is their true story. Let's get to it. In this session, Grace shares the outcome from her real estate internship at Blackstone over the past summer and what she's doing her senior year to plan for full time. I think really this episode is most about doing a victory lap, a well-deserved victory lap. Enjoy. All right, Grace, when was the last time we talked? It's November 11th, 2022. Was it like 3 months ago?
I think it was before the summer. I think it might have been in April.
Gosh, yeah, it was definitely a long time. So what's going on? How was the summer, first off?
The summer was fantastic. Had really, really good experience, and I'll be returning full time. So I'm so excited about that.
Yay.
And I'm currently just in the fall semester of my senior year now.
This is the BlackRock. This is the real estate.
Blackstone.
Blackstone. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome.
Yes. So it was a really, really amazing experience this summer. I really have so many positive things to say about it. And I was sad for the internship to end. I wish I didn't have 2 more semesters of school, but I am enjoying it.
Really? Wow. You're ready for the real world.
Yeah, I was not ready for the internship to end. I wanted to keep on going, but
that's cool. What about it was like, did you like most?
I found the work really engaging, first of all. And even though there were times when I was working a lot, the days never felt long. And I guess the big thing for me was that all the work I felt like was really intellectually engaging too. Mm-hmm. Because of course, as a junior person, you're going to be doing a lot of the more like tedious tasks sometimes. But even when I was working on those kinds of things, like I felt like I was still intellectually engaged.
That's cool.
It never felt like I was doing true like busy work or anything.
And I'm sure they're good about like looping you in on everything and stuff, which is huge. Good culture and stuff.
Yes. And that was the other thing was the people. And of course, it's so cliche to say like talk about culture, I feel like, but it really did feel so unique compared to any of my prior experiences. Mm-hmm. And I was so blown away by the fact that everyone across the entire group was so impressive, of course, so intelligent. You always feel like the dumbest person in the room, but everyone was also so down to earth. And it's just the rarity of that combination was what made it feel really special to me. And I felt so supported.
That's awesome.
With everyone I talked to and everyone I worked with. So really nothing negative to say at all.
Yeah, I use you as an example of talking to all my interns now. I like we have a large intern program ourselves, like a finance research internship. And like, I'm always like, well, Grace, she went to Florida, but she knew early on, she started freshman year. I'm like, people tell you, like, that's why she
it does pay off. Yes. I think I was the, out of my group of interns, there were 10 of us who were rising seniors. And other than one girl who goes to Duke, I was the only non-Ivy League intern. So I think before I went into the internship, I was a little intimidated by that. But I mean, of course, you realize pretty quickly it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. Yeah. Yeah. If anything, you've had to scratch and claw a little bit more than some of the others. So
right.
A good indication of motivation and stuff like that, which is great. I'm super happy for you. I think you deserve all the, everything that's coming to you and more. And, I think, I think it'll probably be like, sounds like you have a really supportive group. So maybe it won't be that hard of a growth, like a learning curve, but
it definitely is.
It'll be hard. Yeah. The first 6 months are going to be tough because it'll be like, wait, I don't know that, or I have no clue about that. And, but you'll probably pick it up really fast.
Yeah. I mean, that's not to diminish the work in any way. I was extremely challenged this summer. Yeah. But I always felt like I had support there, which was really good.
That's cool.
It never felt like anyone was trying to
training.
Sorry?
Did they do training for you at all or no?
We had about a week of training in the beginning.
Yeah.
And that That was really high level though, especially for intern training.
Yep.
So a lot of it really was on the desk, especially because within my group as well, the way that it's structured is that there's teams for different asset classes and portfolio companies. Of course, Blackstone touches every kind of real estate out there,
Yeah.
essentially.
Yeah.
So among our group of interns, every intern was working on different portfolio companies, different asset classes. So I was never working directly with another intern, but because of that, every intern had a different experience in terms of the things that they were focusing on most. So, for instance, I was working on a portfolio company within the hotel space.
Yep.
So the things that I was focusing on were going to be a lot different from what the intern who was working on the industrials portfolio company was focusing on in the day to day. So with that, of course, it makes it so that I think when I was talking with a lot of the other interns, we could learn a lot from each other then in talking about what we were working on and how
that's
and
awesome.
how that kind of related to what other groups were doing. But
was it all portfolio work, or were you doing any sort of acquisition or analysis for potential acquisitions? Or
I did get some transaction exposure on the disposition side.
Mm-hmm.
So that was really interesting, especially
cool.
with the way the markets are right now and like seeing that situation evolve over the summer.
Get worse.
I really
rates going through the roof. Yeah, it's an interesting time for real estate.
So yeah, seeing how on the disposition side, like how buyers were reacting to different things, and just like the general sentiment, especially in different geographic areas, and then for like assets of different sizes. And then the other half of the role is very operationally focused, especially like on the hotels team, for instance. Of course, it's very operationally heavy kind of portfolio company. So whether it's like looking at effects like the labor market right now or other operational things that are specific to those portfolio companies. I really enjoyed that because, it's almost daily interaction with people from the management team or the C-suite of the portfolio company, which is really neat too. Yeah. People who are so experienced with the company and kind of in that space.
That's so cool. Yeah. Did you, I'm curious in terms of like your senior year, I know you're like ready to go work, but are you going to be able to like have a lower course load, I hope?
Yeah. So this semester
like hopefully
is my
3
last
classes or something.
This semester I'm extremely busy. I've gotten myself really involved on campus. I'm leading 3 different clubs on campus.
You don't slow down.
So it's a lot. And I'm constantly talking with underclassmen, helping them with recruiting things. So that definitely takes up a lot of time, but I enjoy doing it. And in addition to that, then I have a full course load this semester, but then in the spring, I'll technically be a part-time student. So that'll be when I'll really have some free time to enjoy travel a little bit.
Travel. Yeah, definitely travel before you start. Take advantage because there's nothing like college or the last kind of, because like, right now you're like, I want to work, I want to start, but then within a few years, you're going to look back and probably be like, oh man, I had like, I had free time. Yes. I had free time. Like what's going on?
And believe me, I am fully aware of that. And I am cherishing the freedom I have with my time. The fact that I can go somewhere at 2 p.m. on a Wednesday and
big deal.
I'm able to do that.
Yeah, it's a big deal. Cause that is like a little bit of a shock when you first get out of school. Like within the second or third month of like on the job, you're like, whoa, like this isn't stopping. Right. Like it's a wave, like, and it's, you got to get kind of into that groove. So you got to be just like really take care of yourself, mental health wise, all that stuff, like take time for yourself to like, be ready, like mentally prepared, and kind of even talk to your like, your loved ones and relationships and just like let them know that like it's going to be like a harder time in the sense of like being able to give them maybe as much support as you've given them, when you're in college. It's different. Right. Right. So I think that transition could be tough, not just for you, but for like mentally tough if you're not like prepared to, you haven't warned everybody, you aren't prepared mentally, because it is a lot. It's one of those things where like, it's why a lot of bankers, like within a couple of years, they have like existential crisis. Like they're in their second year and they're like, what am I doing? Right. And so you want to avoid that as much as possible or delay it as much as possible. It sounds like you're in a great place with a great culture. So I don't think it's as much of a risk, but it always is, because any big transition can just like physically and mentally tax you more than you even suspect, especially for someone who's a hard worker and likes to keep going, like just trying to build in some time where it's like, hey, on Sundays for these 2 hours, I'm like, I don't care what's going on. Like, I'm going to go to the gym, or I'm going to, whatever, meditate or just relax or watch a movie.
Having your priorities set.
Yeah, something like that where, you can decompress a little bit. Because if you just go for 2 years, like straight, give yourself in your brain, like those mental breaks, you can break down unexpectedly. Because like no matter how good or how hard of a worker you are, there are breaking points for people. And so just keep that in mind. Because I think it's like, I've seen a lot of really driven people, like sometimes the most driven get grounded into the ground faster and harder because they don't know how to say no and they don't know how to do that. I don't think that's going to happen to you, but just, I wanted to make sure you think of that, like how to learn how to like manage up too.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think
and I don't know anybody in your group or anything, so I'm not saying that for any reason. It's just, it's more of like a skill that takes time, because initially you're just going to be like, very like just wanting to please and all that stuff. And then I think over time you learn like, actually, this isn't like super urgent. I have this other project, and you start communicating better about that. And it gets easier once you do that.
That's what I was going to say. Communication, I think, is
where
it really comes.
But even the confidence to speak up, be like, I can't, I need help.
Right.
Like, I'm not gonna be able to finish this. I have this, and this that I need to get done by 2 a.m., that type of thing. And I don't know what the group is like, but I don't think it's notorious for like 100-hour weeks or anything like that.
No, I think, and the one thing that I noticed this summer too, that's at least contrasted with my IB experiences a lot, is that
I know.
I think like a lot of the unpredictability of IB hours is driven by the fact that you're working for a client, and so the client asks for something, then
buy side's the way to go, straight to the buy side.
Right, exactly. When all of your deliverables are for internal use for the most part. I think, at least in my case, from what I saw, there was a lot more visibility around timelines and more flexibility as well. So
great. What about like work from home and versus in office? Are you guys all in office like 5 days?
We're all in office, and that is a very Blackstone specific thing. I think, at least on the investment teams. I saw that work really well for people. And of course, as an intern, I enjoyed that.
It's good for you. You don't want to be remote. You want to be like, have your face seen for the next like 2-3 years. It's funny because when COVID first happened, like the second and third year analysts were like, yes, this is great. But like, and even the first year analysts like kind of liked it, but I'm like, that's just bad for you. You're starting out your career, because then you just become a name and an email.
Right.
And it's like, there's no real connections built. So that's why we saw so much burnout, so much like low performance, like with the training we're doing, like people are coming to us being like, yeah, all the remote analysts, they really need help. Like the work product's not getting better. People aren't getting up the learning curve like they did when they were in office, when they could just like lean over somebody's shoulder and watch them.
Right. And especially amongst the intern group for us this summer, that was so key, in that there were other interns like scattered around the floor. We could just walk over to each other's computers and help each other with stuff when we were working on things. And also just the social component of that too.
So fun.
Several of the interns and I would eat lunch together at least twice a week, like in the pantry on the floor. And like we were able to step away and do that for, 15-20 minutes. Certain days of the week and things like that, or like eating dinner together also in the office. Like it does make a huge difference.
Massive. It's like not as lonely.
Yes.
Dude, I know, because I've been running this business for 16 years, over a decade, 12 years remote. So,
right.
So it's like, it can be lonely if like you don't get the face-to-face. Zoom helps, but if you don't get the face-to-face with people, it can be tough. I mean, especially banking, even worse, like with long hours, imagine. You're just literally grinding till like 3-4 in the morning, then have to get up early and do it all over again.
Right.
But yeah, I guess what's, anything concerning you, not job wise or anything like, not just job or career wise, any thoughts around like, obviously it's new, you're going to just go in there, do the best you can. Is the thought process like build a career there? Is the thought process like you just wait and see kind of thing, given that you're so early?
I mean, I know it probably sounds naive to say this, but I could see myself there for the long term. And it's always, for years now, I've kind of thought of myself as more being a person who would go somewhere and rise up the ranks rather than like, I do not have an entrepreneurial bone in my body. I don't know if I could ever, if I ever see myself doing something on my own like that. Yeah. So I could see myself, and I felt like I fit into the environment at the firm and in the group really well. That's so if that remains the case, then I would love to stay there for a long time.
That's awesome. Yeah. So, I mean, I think for now, you don't really need my help. I think you're doing great, but we can
so helpful in the beginning. How like that, I look back and like freshman year when I was just starting college and working with you, and how much of a difference that made, like what you pushed me to do in terms of networking and outreach has made such an instrumental difference. So that's the big thing. That's so appreciative of that. I thank you. That's nice. I just don't think people recognize like that's the skill you need to, that's the muscle you need to be working, and not like, it's not just about the technical skills and the financial modeling skills, it's about like the people skills. And that's really where you need to communication. Yeah. You need to gain that skills. So, because that's how you do well in interviews too. Exactly. It's practice. I did so many phone calls freshman year. I think that's why when it came time for me to interview, I never felt that worried about it. You weren't stressed. You'd already done it like 100 times. Right. You're like, oh, I've answered this question like 40 times. Oh, let's see if I can put this new angle on it. And like, you could probably even like, as soon as they started saying something with the first few words out of their mouth, you already knew where you were going to go. Yes. So it just removes a lot of the stress out of it. And but it is a lot of work. You know, you put it in the work, which is, you know, a lot of people will say they want something and then they don't do it. So congrats. And I think, in terms of us and talking and stuff like that, I'm happy to be available. We can maybe like try to do like a once every 6 months type of thing. Like we kind of did here. This was similar. Yeah. So like, I think that's a good cadence, because I'd love to hear how things are going at the firm. Obviously, you know, if there's anything offline too, you want help with, because like if something's sensitive or whatever, you don't want to put it online, that's fine too. But in terms of just other stuff, I'm excited to see where you go. I think you're going to rise up the ranks fast. Thank you. We'll see. I'm so excited to start as off as it is, but also I will, and I'm going to be trying to go out to California. I've never been to California before. Never? So that's one of my goals for, crazily enough. So in the spring, that'll be one of the spots I hit. So I'll let you know if I end up in the Bay Area. If you're in like San Jose area, I'm pretty close to there. Okay. San Francisco's a little tough, but let me know and maybe we can like grab coffee or whatever. Definitely. Okay. Congrats, Grace. I'm excited. Thank you. And thanks to you, my listeners at Wall Street Oasis. If you have any suggestions whatsoever, please don't hesitate to send them my way, patrick@wallstreetoasis.com. Until next time.